Hey, back again once. I'm trying to put this thing all together here. What's going on, good people? I'm a hot mess right off the get-go.
Great start. Great start, guys.
Yeah. What it is there's so many buttons over here, and I'm always pushing them, and I'm trying to figure out, like, this goes to this goes to that, and, yeah, all over the place. But how's everybody doing tonight? And obviously, you know me, Rich Masucci. Check it in here, 3 and Out, brought to you by Disruption Networks and MyGarageBar.com. We'll get it together. We've only been on for like 3 years. We'll get it together.
Yeah, 3 years and 4 months of this season or however long. Yeah,
just give me a little longer. I'm getting the hang of this. Yeah, right.
Got to figure it all out.
Speaking of figuring it out, this has been a really, really, really weird week for me.
Uh-oh.
Because usually Erica is around to help me with everything.
Yes.
You know, she was away on vacation, which we'll talk about in a little while. But, yeah, if you've ever seen... Well, if you've ever attempted to watch me try to figure out all this craziness and do the scripting and research and everything else for the show, what a I'm just gonna say, what a shit show. You don't usually hear me cussing, but boy, that
was a good one.
Thank God she's back now. Yeah, but not this week. You guys are gonna find that. Let me introduce you. Oh, look at who we got. We got the Rays here again, and of course, Mr. Jamie Ostenet.
Yes.
What's happening, sir?
Not a damn thing. Good times here.
Not a damn thing at times?
No, not good times. Good times.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Actually, you stopped over the house.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving, and we watched a little bit of football. And
that we did.
Yeah, that was a very interesting night.
It turned out that way, yes. It definitely did.
We had some less than desirable guests at the garage that night.
I wouldn't even say plural on that, actually. Guest. There was one that kind of drove us a little bit over the top there. And we kind of looked at each other, and you gave me the old eye, like, I'm closing this up after this game. I'm like, good, because I'm leaving after this game.
Yeah, we don't often like give people to boot. We did that night. We
gave him the quick one on.
Was that bad?
The day itself started great. You got to see some old friends that we haven't seen in a while. Most of the season, Ricky Clark, our good friend. That was good to see him. And then even some of the normally less than desirables were actually fine for the most part.
Normally less than
and then we had one that just took over for probably one of the worst people I've ever got to be around.
Well, yeah, when you show up with your own bottle of like pop-off vodka, you know things are going downhill.
Yeah.
And within like an hour, we knew we were going to part ways soon.
Yeah. So. We were going to call it at that.
Was it a Dallas Buffalo thing?
Nope. Actually, it was just random person, and it was later in the night. So thankfully, because I probably would have not been here due to prison. if anybody's giving me crap during that game.
Somebody that had partied just a little bit too much all night long.
Yeah.
Ray Party, what's going on, man?
Nothing. Kids, work, wife.
Yeah? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
Yeah.
Had 2 of them, yep.
Cool, very cool.
Back to back.
And, we were talking a little bit before the show came on. You saw it today. You saw the trailer for the new Black Widow movie coming out. Hey, huh?
Yeah. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
Take the kids to that.
I didn't realize you were so into those movies. Now,
I am.
Now we're going to have to start another podcast called Nerding Out or something like that.
I'm good with that. Absolutely.
You know what? I'll actually speak for him on this one. You could actually go even further because when we were kids, him and another friend of ours, Matt, were diehard comic fans. So a lot of the things that I even know, because I'm nowhere near their level, was because of those two. Those guys were crazy fanatics.
Really?
Yeah.
Superheroes, movies, music, whatever you want to get into.
Nerding Out. I love it. It's coming out already, man. I'm already in the
mix right here.
Just not the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh.
And here he is back from places unknown.
Please don't.
Those 2 pages in history are stuck together.
Yeah. Ray Nation, what's going on?
What's up?
We actually missed you last week, and we didn't get our house money. We're going to get it tonight, though, right?
We'll get one tonight.
There you
go. All right. How you feeling, man? You look...
Spent.
It's been a long weekend, huh?
Yeah, it's a long week-ish.
It's been a long life.
It's been a long one.
We're going to leave it at that.
Yeah, it's been a long one.
Perfect. So, but I got something for you guys. We're going to talk about this first segment here, and that is the New England Patriots. If you were just watching the little video that we did in the other room, I was mentioning it. And I'm sure everybody in the free world knows this by now because every sports outlet has been talking about it.
Yeah.
But the New England Patriots, they actually lost this weekend. like sound the horns, man. Everybody, every ESPN, NFL Network, they're all going bananas right now. They lost to the Houston Texans 28-22. And I guess since they're all talking about it, we might as well talk about it too.
Right.
Right? So, listen, I don't know how much of this game you guys actually got to catch on Sunday. 'Cause again, it was very busy. But I'm going to tell you what. The New England Patriots, they might be in some trouble. Might be in a little bit of trouble. And I know some of you guys are going to say that maybe I'm jumping the gun and completely ignoring the fact that this is a 10-2 team. But despite the record, man, I'm going to tell you something. This does not look like a team that is about to go into the playoffs and defend their championship. And that's happening here in just a few short weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this before I start preaching. But let's start with the glaring question as it is, and that is, what has happened to the Patriots offense? Because it seems to be pretty non-existent at this point. It just disappeared. So, Jamie, I'll start with you.
It sounds good. And before we start this, I'm going to dislocate my shoulder to pat myself on the back because I called this on Thursday, if you remember, at the Garage Bar, that I said that the Patriots have no shot to beat Houston. And it was ugly. This past weekend was one of the worst performances as a team that the Patriots have put up all season.
Yeah.
But as far as your question goes, what happened to the offense? It hasn't been there all season. This is nothing new at this point.
Yeah.
They've had a few games where they've played relatively well, but for the most part, from week one on, they've lived and died by that defense. And they've almost succeeded in spite of the offense instead of because of, which is a weird thing to hear about the New England Patriots. But one of the worst things that's happened to them, they have zero consistency in the wide receiver room outside of Julian Edelman. You saw the Texans this past weekend massively exploit that too. And at least in the past, where they used guys like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, of course, to a small extent when he was there, Danny Amendola, what they would do is simple screen passes, get their linemen out to block downfield, wide receivers would block downfield, and that was working. But you had to respect a little bit because of Gronkowski. You don't have to respect, Matt Lacoste at this point. Their tight ends are nothing at this point. So it really it showed if you stop Edelman, you're stopping Brady, and the team as a unit hasn't been able to run really well as it is from week one on. So that has been it. It's a sputtering offense, and it is not what we're used to seeing or hearing or talking about over 15 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other night watching that, with the exception of maybe Julian Edelman and James White,
Yeah.
there was nothing to talk about at all.
No.
This is where I disagree.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, because
Okay.
the reason I disagree is Tom Brady right now is 5th in yards thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 5th. So we tend to think that Tom Brady is slowing down. I mean, it's not like as if the Patriots haven't lost games before in other seasons. Kansas City is constantly taking them to the woodshed in the regular season. The playoffs, it's a different story. So I don't view it as so much as the offense is sputtering. I just think it's not balanced. So right now they're 21st from a rushing perspective and 6th from a passing perspective. So they don't fear any of the running backs coming out. Also, Tom Brady is holding on to the ball a little bit longer. And if you saw that game, they almost won it. They almost got an onside kick. They've only lost by 6 points, and that was after having a terrible 3 quarters. So something kicked in the fourth quarter to where they almost won that game. And it was in Houston. In Foxborough, it's a different story, whether it's regular season or playoffs. They're just a different team there, and you were sharing your Foxborough story in the back, in the shitter. And it's a house of horrors. It probably should have won on the Halloween episode that we did, because they just need to get to the playoffs, and if they get a home game, they're going to reach the championship game.
I mean, I'm going to say this. This was going to be my next question on here. If you're watching like ESPN or NFL Network or anything like that right now, a lot of those outlets are kind of deflecting. I'll say they're deflecting a lot of the blame to the fact that Tom Brady has have this revolving cast of characters in the offense right now, and Josh Gordon,
Right.
that guy who we can't ever say his name yet.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Antonio Brown.
That guy.
I can.
Yeah, him.
Nikhil Harry. I can say his name.
Muhammad Sanu, even
Philip Dorsett.
Philip Dorsett. He's been in and out of the lineup constantly, and I mean, I know that's definitely part of it. That's got to be problematic at best to have a revolving door on your receivers like that. But the other thing that I think can't be denied is 42 years old. I mean, at some point you're going to have to face the fact that maybe Tom Brady is just getting a little old. This game is passing him by. I mean, they made a huge stink that he ran 13 yards on that little scramble play. I know that was more of a joke, but at the same time,
it was sad to watch too. But
yeah, he's not quick.
No.
But at the same time, I mean, how many times are we going to look at that and say, well, if he gets to the postseason, Tom Brady will kick in and the Patriots are going to light this up?
yeah.
I mean, there's going to be an end to it. It's going to happen.
Well, I hope there is, but at the same point in time,
the world hopes so.
when you saw Peyton Manning with Denver have a historically good defense, he didn't do anything either. Okay, so now you have the Patriots on track to have a historically great defense.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be great anymore. And I think a similar decline with Peyton Manning, you're seeing it with Tom Brady, he can still win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the reason Ray gets so happy about the Broncos is because that defense won him the Super Bowl.
Ray, what do you think?
Honestly, you guys need to relax.
R-E.
Yeah, because I'm looking. I just quickly looked up the box score. They had 471 yards of offense, so that doesn't look like a team really hurting. They lost by 6 points. James White, 177 scrimmage yards. Julian Edelman had another 106. Tom Brady threw 3 touchdowns. I mean, what if that looks like a team that doesn't have it together? I don't get it. I don't know.
If you look at his stats, he hasn't had it all season, man.
I mean, top 5 in passing yards.
I mean, that offense from where we were last year, I guess maybe I'm kind of going with a lot with what you're saying about it not being a balanced offense.
Right.
We're so used to this offense completely lighting teams up, or at least in years past.
Correct.
Completely lighting teams up, and then, whereas we always used to say, like, other teams don't step on the throat when they got them. And the Patriots always used to do that, and they would rely on that. Well, it wasn't really quite the defense it is now, but they used to step on the throat and snuff them out. And and teams just used to kind of bow down going into places like Foxborough. I think they used to look at it and be like, we can't win this game. Couple quick touchdowns, and they're like, yep, see, we knew we couldn't win. I don't know if there's that mentality going around right now.
I can see that, but and they are more vulnerable now than they ever have been. And there are teams that have come in, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, with stellar quarterback play, where that mystique is gone a little bit. But just because they're not beating teams by 30 or 40 points as they have done in recent years doesn't mean that they're still not, what are they, 10-2?
Yeah.
10, they're still handling business. They still have to play the Bills, right? That's going to be a tough game. But they have virtually the same schedule as Buffalo. And we sit here and say Buffalo is doing really well. I think from a Patriot perspective, we're so used to them winning 14 games a year by 400 points that now you're seeing them come back down to earth, but they're still winning.
What we're not talking about is their kicking game. Because I mean,
Pretty bad.
when you think about it, they had
That's really
Steven Gostkowski and Adam Vinatieri basically for the last
Ever?
20 years.
23 years. There was only 2 guys, and this year alone, they just cut Kai Forbath after signing him for a week.
Yeah.
He got cut already.
After, like, what did he have? Like a appendectomy or something?
Yeah, no, that was Nick Folk. Nick Folk had an appendectomy, and they released him. And then they signed Kai Forbath.
Yes.
He kicked 1 field goal, missed 1 PAT, made 1 PAT, and then they released him. So they're now probably going to get Nick Folk back because the appendectomy didn't appear to be like long term. So, but when you think about it, they've had more rotation in their kicking than anything other position when you look at it.
And
right?
he was a kicker with the Texans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they famous for picking up players that know
No other
about
team
the former
want-
team.
yeah.
So
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
it was that.
Which is true, but it obviously failed miserably. And this is the one thing that going with the stats are all wonderful. The numbers were all wonderful as far as that goes.
That was a jab.
You could jab all you want. The downfall is he's got 15 passing touchdowns this year, which is one less than a quarterback for the Bills in Josh Allen.
Right.
So if we're talking about dynamic passing game, he's got the yards, great. You're not getting in the damn end zone.
Right.
And so and then to lean on a kicking game,
Absolutely.
that's
It was-
not going
which is
to work.
true. But
It's not good, So that's problem number however many that we're going with. And then the last part of it, if watching the game on Sunday, this was a 28-9 game against the Houston Texans team that I would absolutely believe is far worse than the Patriots. Far. I think the Texans are good, but they're nowhere near as complete as the Patriots are. And they were getting beat down to 28-9. Going into the fourth quarter, when you watched it, where the Bill O'Brien mistake was for the Texans was totally took the foot off the gas and let them kind of just, we're not going to give up the quick big touchdown, we're not going to keep giving these up, and just
They
kind
fell
of
asleep.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and just kind of let them dink and dunk these 10, 15 chunk to 15-yard chunk plays down the throat, so the numbers get escalated over that, but. The problem was the Texans didn't run out the clock, but they had that game. I mean, you could have turned it off with 6 minutes left. They were still down 2 scores. It wasn't really that great of a game in any way, shape, or form. And I think they are a better team than the Texans. What it inevitably does is it does look like at least the teams that they should easily walk in and beat, they're not doing that anymore, at least not easily doing that anymore.
They can't draft a receiver either. They can draft every other position, but the best receivers they've had to go out and
sign,
trade.
yeah.
Or Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Antonio Brown. I can say it.
Yeah, you can say.
Josh Gordon. I don't know why they let Josh Gordon go, but
How do you forget Julian Edelman? He's been their most consistent player for a decade.
Yeah.
Like,
Converted quarterback from Kent State. Yeah.
I want to ask you guys though, because as I check this current playoff picture here, I'm looking at this, and I mean, I got to say, I haven't seen this kind of thing in a long time, and that's that probably 4 of the 5 teams, other than the Patriots in there, 4 of the 5 teams, I think, have a legitimate chance of beating the Patriots this year. The Chiefs and the Bills, they certainly can, they can hang with them. And the Ravens and Texans have already both beaten them. Mm-hmm. If there's anybody in there that I would say probably doesn't have a chance, it's the Steelers, and obviously they're,
I would Duck, man. You guys got a shot. No, I'm serious.
I love the Duck, man. I love the Duck, but
you guys,
they got a little ways to go before they get to that point, though. I mean, their defense is kicking, but I think out of the 5 teams over there, besides the Patriots, 4 of them can legitimately handle the Patriots. Did you guys?
Yeah, and I think there might be a team that you could add in if they get in. This is at the expense of either. Hang on. This is at the expense of either the Bills or the Steelers at this point. That's really what it's coming down to. The Colts defense is actually damn good, and Brissett understands the system. That's a team that I think matches well with them. And the teams that have struggled, the teams that the Patriots have struggled with this season have been teams that can either have a mobile quarterback or a good running game, or a combination. You have that in Indianapolis, at least to a smaller extent. I think Watson's a better player that they just had over Brissett, but at least you have some mobility to your quarterback, and you have a decent enough running game. Plus, the defense is going to cause enough problems. They could. At least it's not a scary, or it's not a walkaway matchup, I guess you could say. But that would be another team. As far as the rest of it, though, this entire field is massively wide open. I don't see a team that's really, when we talked about it in the first 4 weeks, who's the obvious favorites to win the AFC or even the NFC. Nobody's really staking claim to anything anymore. It's massively wide open with 4 weeks left to go. And I mean, Baltimore might be the best. They're the hottest team right now, and they might be the most complete team. They're probably the scariest right now, but they might even have an Achilles heel too. We just haven't seen it yet.
I mean, would you guys say that if the Patriots don't end up playing from home field, I mean, if they have to go on the road,
I'm not buying what you're selling. Nope.
No?
Nope. It's very simple. There's things that we've watched for a decade, and it's very simple.
12 wins.
No, not even that. Not even that. It's very simple. The Patriots don't lose to the same team twice. So
True.
based on your stats right there, if they end up playing Baltimore or Houston, they're going to beat them. I'm guaranteed.
Wow.
Belichick does not lose to the same team twice. He just doesn't.
Where were you for bold predictions?
Doesn't happen.
He was in
Telling
San
you,
Diego.
you guys are going to sit there and be like, "Oh, I can't wait," and then you guys are going to be shocked when the Patriots win, and then you're going to be like, "Well, but it was New England." Like, exactly, it's New England. They always do this. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'm gonna-
telling you, they
I
don't
won't be
lose to the
shocked.
same
I won't
team.
be shocked. I'm just saying
telling you.
it's a lot more open than in years past. In other years, we kind of went, yeah, they're going to win the damn thing every year. This one, I can't put a stamp on it that they're like absolutely. If you're
Right.
probably right. If they play, the Texans in their, coming off their first round bye, and then the Ravens in the AFC Championship, then I'm probably gonna, poop a little. but other than that,
in Foxborough?
who cares? Honestly, I don't care as much about the home field one way or another for the most part. I just kind of go with I am with Ray a little bit as far as they won't lose twice to the same team, at least historically speaking. But it just they don't seem to really play as dominant against anybody else either. So
I'm going to disagree with your Indy pick, though. I'm going to say Tennessee would be the other one,
interesting,
especially with that defense, which is comparable to Indy.
I agree.
Derrick Henry is better than Marlon Mack at this point.
Agreed. But Brissett's better than Tannehill.
Of course,
say,
I
yeah.
know this. I do know
Because
this.
Ryan Tannehill's trash.
He is. They're number one, though, in the red zone
So,
the past couple of weeks.
but if you can run the ball, that's been what's been kind of putting the Patriots on their heels. So you're probably right that they would give them a little bit of a fit.
Well, and Tennessee has Houston coming up 2 out of the next 3 weeks, so that could change the division.
Yep.
They just beat Indy.
That was a big one.
Yeah. So
Well, if the Patriots manage to get through the AFC.
When?
when
when the Patriots manage to get through there, let's start talking about the NFC. What teams over there might be able to put up a match on them?
every single
Niners,
every
Seattle,
Are you finally coming around to the
New
Niners?
Orleans. I guess so. Enough to say that
Obviously not, yeah.
if they play the Patriots, they'll win. Because who doesn't like a storybook ending like that?
Wow.
Seeing the guy that Belichick wanted to keep go to another team and then beat him in the Super Bowl.
Watching Garoppolo take that championship away from
man.
them. Woo.
That would be spectacular.
Belichick
actually.
would be more miserable about that than the 6 that he's won. Like he'd be like, God,
he
damn
might
it.
secretly be happy though. Like
That
he
might
was
set him on
right.
retirement
But he was
He'd be
right.
But he was
pissed.
right, yeah.
He was right. He might any team in the NFC except Dallas or Philly.
Yeah.
By the
I
way,
agree with that. Philly's trash too.
Yeah. Philly's
why? What happened last week?
Oh, because they lost to the Dolphins.
Oh, it's crazy.
that was another game that the
Wonder who
final
called
score
that.
doesn't tell you what actually happened in that game. They beat up the Eagles. Good for you.
They scored
It felt really good.
They scored like
Felt really good.
37 points or
The
something.
punter threw
Yeah,
it to the kicker.
37.
To the
And
kicker.
that was actually a really cool.
That was
play,
a great
by the
play.
way. But off getting off the Eagles and Dolphins for right now. As far as the NFC, there is two that I prefer. Ray's already mentioned one. Ray Nation, I should say, is the Niners for exactly what I've been saying. They run the damn ball and very well,
Yep.
and they do have a nasty defense, as we very well know. Seattle's another one.
Yep.
They run the damn ball and they have a solid defense. I'd say at least it's more than above average at least. Plus, they also have Russell Wilson, who literally wears a cape while he's playing. That dude,
I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how
no
or
idea.
what. Half the time, I don't even realize he still has the ball.
They're leading that division now?
Yes,
Now they are.
yeah.
No, yep.
How did that happen?
The Niners are a wild
By beating the Niners
Yeah,
on Monday
that's-
Night Football last week.
That could be an interesting storyline too, though. Coming back, the Seahawks to take that Super Bowl match or
Yeah.
Super Bowl
I
rematch.
think they play the last game of the season too. Seattle, San Fran.
That'd be awesome
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That'll be
Great.
for the division.
I agree.
Ah, boy. I'm disheartened. I got to tell you, I don't think they're coming out of the AFC. I really don't.
In a perfect world,
Of course, I'll be chiming in February saying, "Screw those guys."
Yeah.
12
I'm going
wins.
home.
12
No,
wins,
they'll have
favorable
13 or
calls.
14
Favorable
by
call.
then.
Favorable cause.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually with Ray. I think they're going to get to at least 13.
Which Ray?
Nation. I heard him just say, "This,
Yeah, I
this
think they get
sucks."
13.
Yeah, like every
They'll probably
time-
honestly. I think I was looking at the schedule. I think they're going to beat Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to beat Cincinnati. They're going to lose to Buffalo and then beat Miami.
Everybody keeps saying beat Miami. That
They always struggle with Miami for
That's
at least
correct.
once a year. My two, I think they'll lose one of the two to either Kansas City or Buffalo. It just depends on which one they beat. Is the one?
They have 3 home games, 3 out of 4 at home.
Yeah.
So
Favorable calls.
Yep.
The refs are playing, right? They're playing.
Yeah.
they always play.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, guys, I got to tell you, I know we said that she wasn't on tonight, but Erica actually is in the studio with us.
Yes, she is.
And we're gonna bring her in for the Moss's Mindbender, and let's do that now. We'll take a little break and we'll go to that question. See what she's got. There you go.
All right, here I am. I'm back with this week's Moss's Mindbender Trivia Question of the Week. We have a game Thursday night between the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. So my question is, who holds the record for the all-time passing yards for the Dallas Cowboys with a total of 34,183 yards? Again, who holds the record for the all-time passing yards for the Dallas Cowboys with 34,183 yards? We're going to find out that answer right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the second down of 3 and Out, brought to you by Disruption Network and MyGarageBar.com. Before the break, I hit you with my Moss's Mindbender. That question was, who holds the record for the all-time passing yards for the Dallas Cowboys with a total of 34,183 yards? The answer is, Ray got it, Tony Romo. That's right. Tony Romo was with the Cowboys from 2003 until 2016. Right behind Romo was what everybody probably thought the answer was Troy Aikman with 32,942 yards. So there you have it, folks. This week's Moss's Mindbender.
Wow.
Tony Romo.
Moss coming in and saving the day with Moss's Mindbender.
Good old Tony Romo, who talked about Dallas and everything Dallas for 3/4 of the Thanksgiving game until he realized that they weren't going to win.
Yes.
And then he started talking about Buffalo a little bit.
Oh, dear. You know what's great is we got to bring Erica back out here in a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to tell us a little bit about her trip. But, Moss, are you tired? You look very tired. She was just like, there it is. Moss's Mindbender.
Here's my question. It's like Eeyore. You know?
Tony Romo. Might as well not even bother. Actually, we're glad to have you back, Moss. And, so we got to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame, which is going to be coming up here very shortly. And the NFL just released their the list of their final 25 semifinalists for I guess they changed this up a little bit. There's a couple different levels of this. I guess I'm trying to figure out how they come, like how they come up with these names. Some of these are like old timers. They have to vote in like old timers, and then there's the modern era players, which is what we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole bunch of them. Troy Polamalu, wide receiver Reggie Wayne. There's linebacker Patrick Willis. There's a bunch of guys coming up real quick here, and some good names. So I wanted to ask you guys. I'm going to give you the names first of all, and then if you want to go through and we'll talk about who you think might get in and who's going to just kind of miss out here. Some of these guys are very deserving, and there's a lot of them that have been on this list for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I always hate to see some of these names get left over, but it's I don't know. I don't know how they do the voting sometimes. Let's start off here. The first one on here was safety Steve Atwater, who obviously played for the Denver Broncos, and then he played for the Jets later on. He's been in there. He's been on this list of semifinalists 9 times. That's got to be brutal, sitting there 9 times and being.
This is the year.
I guess 8 times. Yeah, this is going to be
10.
it. Nope.
Yep.
Carl Banks, linebacker from the Giants, and then he also was with the Redskins and the Browns. Rondé Barber with the Bucks. He's been on there 3 times. Tony Boselli from the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Isaac Bruce, wide receiver with everybody will obviously remember him with the Rams, and I think he was with them with the Super Bowl run, right? It was him, Torrey Holt.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he went to the 49ers after.
Yep, 49ers. Leroy Butler, They're from the Green Bay Packers. Alan Faneca, who's with the Steelers. Everybody remembers from there. He was guard. Torrey Holt. I didn't even notice that. Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce are on the same one. That's kind of cool. Steve Hutchinson. That's a great name. He was in it for a while. Who else we got? Edgerrin James. Edgerrin James has been on there 6 times. This is going to be his 6th time on this list. So sooner or later, he's got to get out. I cannot even think. John Lynch. Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews has been on, let's see, 4 times he's been listed. And this is Clay Matthews Sr. Yeah.
Yep.
Sam Mills, who was a linebacker with the Saints and the Panthers. He's been on there 3 times. Polamalu, this is his 1st time. Simeon Rice, you guys will remember him actually from the Bucks when they won the Super Bowl. Played for a couple different teams too. He's been on there 2 times. Richard Seymour, Iron Man. I'm actually kind of surprised Richard Seymour is not in there already.
Really?
Yeah, I think I am. Steve Tasker. Steve Tasker. And of course, Jamie, that's got to be your guy, man. Steve Tasker was great special team.
He was a Swiss Army knife.
Yes.
With Steve Tasker.
Yes, he was, man. Fred Taylor, running back from Jacksonville Jaguars, and I always forget he's played once for a cup of coffee he had with the New England Patriots. Zach Thomas from the Miami Dolphins, and then with the Dallas Cowboys. Hines Ward, man, how's he not in there? Crazy. He's been 4 times semifinalist with the Steelers. Ricky Waters, there's his name. Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Darren Woodson, and Bryant Young. So those are our
guys.
Those are our 25 semifinalists. I don't know how much of a chance you guys had to take a look at that and kind of mull over those names and figure out what's what. But Ray, I'm actually going to start with you. Which Ray? Ray Nation.
Yeah.
Did you see anybody in there you think is a shoo-in to begin?
I would imagine Troy Polamalu is a shoo-in. I would imagine he's going to get in. I'm kind of shocked Ricky Waters isn't in. And I'm really shocked he's only been a semifinalist 1 time.
Yeah, that's
And
surprising to me.
Been eligible for years. Holy God, wow. Reggie Wayne, I definitely think he'll get in. Alan Faneca. God, I'm gonna stop naming Steelers now.
No, go ahead. I like
Continue. Carry on. Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest. I think Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt are gonna have a problem because they're gonna be like, well, one or the other.
Right.
And they both are arguably, focal points of that team. So, yeah, Rondé Barber, he doesn't need to get in. Relax, and chill, relax.
take a seat for another year.
Yeah, just sit down.
How many years has Rondé Barber been in, or has he been?
3.
3.
3. Okay. Yep.
He needs to get to 10 semifinal appearances before he gets in.
Isn't there a number they cap you at before they move you to like the
To that. There's another list that
Like a legend or like,
yeah, like
Exactly.
yeah. I think that's kind of what I was trying to say
I think that's
before,
what
like
you're
the
saying.
old timer.
The old timer league. Yeah.
John Lynch.
Yeah.
You got to get a Bronco in there some point. Yeah,
we got Atwater up there too. He's
well, Atwater's not
but
getting.
he's a Jet too, so he can't.
Atwater's. I mean, if he went in though, he would definitely go in as a Bronco.
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely.
he would
No.
go in as a Jet. That would be
Nobody wants to go on as a Jet.
yeah, unless you're Broadway Joe.
That's
He
about
doesn't,
it.
he doesn't even know he's a Jet.
You don't know.
He doesn't
even
remember
know
he's
he's
on
a
the Jets. So,
It's horrible. It's true.
He's on the sideline in a fur coat, sexually harassing somebody.
Probably.
Guaranteeing something.
Ray, what do you think?
So the way I do, or I look at from a Hall of Fame perspective, that's about individual accomplishments, stat collection, things like that. So there's this wonderful website. When you click on somebody's name and you go to their career, it tells you who their career mirrors or is very similar with.
Nice.
So I did this with pretty much everybody except Atwater. So, you have a receiver whose career is compared to Tim Brown, Steve Largent, Andre Reed, and Chris Carter. So you would say the majority of those people, if not everybody, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Sure.
So I kind of did it based upon that. So that's Isaac Bruce.
Okay.
You go down the list, you have somebody whose career is the same as Derek Brooks, Jack Lambert, Mike Singletary, Brian Urlacher, Jack Ham.
that's Patrick Willis. Got to be right?
No, that's Zach
Nope.
Thomas.
Zach Thomas.
So here's what you do, right? So when you look at the stats and who they're compared to, You just say who they're compared to. Don't even say the team name or, who they represent, what their name is. And that gives you an overview of, I feel like you're amongst your peers at that point in time. If your peers are in the Hall of Fame, you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So you have a receiver on this list, excuse me, whose stats are compared to Keenan McCardle, Anquan Bolden, and Chris Carter. So it's kind of iffy.
Okay.
That's Hines Ward.
Oh man, you're about to be thrown off the show.
I know. I said this.
Guy out of here.
Yeah.
You have somebody on here whose career is compared to Leroy Butler, Darren Woodson, Dre Bly, and Fred Smoot. Do you guys know any of those people?
Yes.
I know you. I know you do.
Okay, but I know what you're saying. Are they Hall of Famers?
Are they Hall of Famers?
No, they are not.
They're not.
That's Troy Polamalu.
Well, that is a bad website then, because Troy Polamalu very clearly should be.
Listen,
in the Hall of
he's a
Fame.
ball hawk. I mean, you have to take intangibles into it as well.
Sure.
There's one person on this list that when you click on their career, they're compared to nobody. There's nobody like them.
Nice.
That order.
Tasker.
Tasker.
Yep.
So then, you just go down the list, and I think people get sentimental, or they're fan favorites, or they're people that they liked watching. You got somebody who's compared to Roger Craigberry, Sanders, OJ, and LaDainian Tomlinson. It's Edgerrin James.
Were they arrested?
They might have.
Bad. I mean, That sounded
Might
like
not be good.
But,
for
yeah.
that sounded like
game.
the all-time convict list.
What about Brian Dawkins, Darryl Green, and Mel Blount?
It's got to be John Lynch?
Woodson.
No, excuse me.
It's Rondé Barber.
Rondé Barber.
No way. All right.
No Rondé Barber.
So here's the thing: just take the name away, take the team away, take your personal feelings. Look at stats; they're intangibles. Like Hines Ward probably isn't in the Hall of Fame because he destroyed half of these people on a block going across the middle,
Probably.
right? But once you do that, you kind of get a sense of who they're in rare company with and if they should go in or not.
Stats-wise, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Which is true.
He should not be in the Hall of Fame.
I
But
totally
you're
agree with you.
you're a
Yeah,
Bronco fan who hates
No, it's that's not it. Because I think Tom Brady will be first ballot.
Yes.
I think Drew Brees will be first
Right.
ballot.
Yes.
I just think players like Phillip Rivers who have done nothing. I mean, yeah, the stats will be there. Tony Romo's got stats.
He does.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I think so.
Oh.
Well, then I'm done with football.
But here's the thing: it's an individual achievement at that point in time. Did you play to the level of certain greats, or had you
No,
achieved?
he did not.
I
he
disagree.
botched. Listen, he ruined.
Yeah, the snap
he ruined-
sucked. Yeah, the snap sucked.
Well.
But at the same point in time, he's putting up 41 points. His defense is allowing 45.
I'd like to compare his stats. You know what? I'm going to go to that website. I'm going to go to that website.
You should.
Send me
That's
the link.
I'm done
I
with
got
football.
I got some things to think about.
You got somebody here compared to Greg Lloyd, Jesse Armstead, and Ray Malawaga. That's Patrick Willis.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well,
I could.
Patrick Willis was a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And his career was cut
Tackle
short, right? He
machine.
only did 8.
Yeah.
He only did
I
8
think he had
years.
8 years.
7 out of those 8 years, though, he was,
It was
all-pro.
first team.
First team all-pro.
All pro.
You know, it's crazy, though. When I look down this list, though, it's like John Lynch, 8 times being on that list,
Yeah.
man. And I said it before, Steve Tasker, 7 times being on there. You almost think to yourself, like, if they haven't voted him in
Right.
after, like, 4,
Stop.
yeah. Maybe it's not going to happen. I don't know.
Should, though. There's nobody to compare him to, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And then Faneca, just to let you know, is Larry Little, Willie Rofe, Larry Allen, and Walter Jones. They're all phenomenal.
All phenomenal linemen.
So I'll give some Pittsburgh love. I took it from Hines and Troy.
I'll tell you what, man. If they vote Ward, Faneca, and Polamalu in the same,
Yeah, you got to go. You have to go. You
Go live there.
physically.
I know where you're going to be.
I'm going to live in the Hall of Fame. It's gonna
But
be great.
that's how I did from a Hall of Fame perspective. That's how I looked at it.
Jamie, what about you?
I actually focused a little more on the intangible part of what separated them, I guess, as far, from the numbers, I guess you can say. But I came up with a few that I thought they should absolutely be in, and some that I also think should never get in as well. There's not many on that list, don't get
Okay.
me wrong. But the first and foremost, going down the list of what you named, Isaac Bruce, this is still a shame that he's not in. I know he was a semifinalist we talked about last year, and we thought it was his company, if I remember right. It was either last year or the year before with like Terrell Owens was on it and Randy Moss, and they had
Right.
great receivers. And we thought the company that he was keeping in that class was going to hurt him, and obviously it did. But I think he's got to get in. There's no reason he shouldn't. Alan Faneca was a guy that I mentioned, I believe, last year when we had the same thing, that he's got to get in. He was one of the best linemen of that entire that entire time frame. So he has to be in, without a doubt. Torrey Holt, sorry, buddy. When I think of the old, the Rams, excuse me, the Rams of that time with Kurt Warner throwing the ball,
The greatest show on turf.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Torrey Holt almost goes to the wayside for me at that point, and it's nothing personal to him as a player, but. Isaac Bruce, I just thought was a better all-around receiver, for the most part, and Torrey Holt was just the other guy that did the same thing. Continuing on, John Lynch was probably one of the nastiest safeties I've ever witnessed play. Almost to a dirty point, which I hate to say it that way, but he didn't care. He ran around and murdered people, and that was his life, and he loved every second of it while he was playing. So I think he should get in as well. Palomalu, that was the one for the intangible thing, because that dude played every down like his hair was on fire, and he had a lot of hair. So I mean, we're talking. There's one play I can specifically remember. I believe was a maybe even a blocked field goal. They just threw him in there at random, and he hurdled the center and blocks the field goal. Pretty much just no concern for his physical well-being whatsoever. And I love that.
Reckless abandon.
Exactly. I absolutely love that about, his playing style. I actually agree with Ray on one of the linebackers he says, and he might fall out of his chair here. Zach Thomas. Zach Thomas was an incredible linebacker that I think got overlooked in his playing career because of two reasons. One, where he played, and two, the other linebackers in the league at the time, like an Urlacher, for example. And so everybody kind of forgot that Zach Thomas was always in the top of the tackles, always one of the better ball hawks for a linebacker as well. And you almost forgot about that, unfortunately, for him. Hines Ward, I love the guy. The problem with Hines Ward is if Isaac Bruce goes in, Hines Ward does not. He should get in at some point because Hines Ward was about as complete of a receiver,
Correct.
As there is on the list, and that's despite a lot of physical shortcomings that he had. He's also the best blocking receiver. Probably might even be the best blocking player on this list. And there's offensive linemen. That's frightening. He just wanted to hit everybody. Other than that, the ones that I don't think should ever get in, and I hate to say this, the first one that threw me off on this list was Patrick Willis. And the problem that I have with him was not his ability, not his. He is an absolute freak of nature. And he was the scariest linebacker of the current generation, especially the first ballot guys. But he had the abrupt retirement, and it was for his own personal reasons. He wanted to stop playing before it became a problem. But I don't think that you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame if you have a shorter career. That's kind of my thought. It's also why I skipped over a bunch of these running backs that we had. I thought some of them did some good things, but they've also kind of ended up towards, the shorter end. They fell short of the Barry Sanders, the Emmitt Smiths of the world, and the Walter Paytons for all intents and purposes, to where I think they've put themselves in really tough company. Edgerrin James, I thought he was a great player. It's same with Fred Taylor. But I also don't believe that Frank Gore is going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and he's third on the NFL rushing list right now.
So I think he should.
It's just because when you look at the stats and you look at the intangibles, as you said, I think guys like that, they fall by the wayside because they weren't as dynamic during their time. They did well, and nobody knew about it. Yeah. And I think that's going to be forgotten of those guys.
Some of these guys, when you mentioned somebody like Gore too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's got 1 million yards, but there's also longevity there.
There is, very true. And Edgerrin James did stay in the league a long time, and he was one of the better backs of the league. But he wasn't even. I don't even think he was the best back in the league.
Is this Tony Romo?
Many of the years that he played. So, same with Ricky Waters. I know he had a good career. I don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy though, as well.
I want to point out one thing. All right.
Sure.
There's a gentleman that has 32,942 yards, 165 touchdowns, 141 interceptions, and the man is in the Hall of Fame.
I already know who you're talking about.
Hold up. There's a man right now with 31,623 yards, 203 touchdowns, and 159 interceptions. Should they also get into the Hall of Fame?
Ray, you want to field this one?
I mean, again, I did this in the class, and then you take into account intangibles.
All right. So
I'm
you're
gonna
telling
sit
me
out
that
on this
Ryan
one.
Fitzpatrick is a fucking Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
Is that the second is Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't think that
Over
was
Troy Aikman.
Yeah,
Those are Troy Aikman versus Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Troy Aikman. I knew that was Troy Aikman. I did
Right.
not know
I
that
did
was
know.
versus Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's a
what's
Hall
wrong
of
with that?
Famer.
What's wrong with that?
Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a Hall of
For
Famer.
beating Philly last week,
With the beard. I would have
Not a Hall of Famer.
100%.
He is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. If he is a Hall of Famer, you know what? We're getting in the Hall of Fame too. I'm getting on the 2022. I'm entering. I'm putting myself in. Why not?
It has been at least 5 years.
It's
since your
definitely been
playing
5 years since I played, so I'm in. Sign me up.
Oh man,
Those are really his numbers?
Those are the numbers.
Wow.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Who knew?
Congratulations on your Hall of Fame
Hall of Fame
induction.
induction. Yeah.
Whenever you
Why
decide to
are you-
retire.
Can I induct him in? Can I
You
just-
sure can. Like, you're going to be the one to give him
I'll be
his
like,
introduction.
Yeah.
Well, here's $1 million question: what team does he go in under?
Well, technically it'd have to be Buffalo, right? He had the most years with Buffalo.
I don't know if that he had. He only had 4. Well, I know, but I know.
I'm looking the most years with one team, Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a mercenary, right?
Yeah,
4 with Buffalo, 1 with Tennessee, 2 with LA, 2 with Cincinnati, 2 with the Jets, 2 with Tampa Bay, 1 with Miami.
made it around.
Man.
well, hey, well, I
But
guess
he's a Hall of Famer.
He is.
That
He
is,
is?
that is
He is.
these are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Congratulations. Every quarterback in the NFL is going to have 31,000 passing yards before they retire right now.
Is
The starting quarterback.
Phillip Rivers better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? Hall of Fame. You're in.
That's not fair.
You're in.
That's kind of crazy when you think about those numbers.
It is.
When you
He sat
play,
a lot of those years.
but when you factor in that Ryan or Phillip Rivers, since we're talking about him, he plays in sunny California for 15 straight years. He's supposed to have those numbers. He's supposed to have those numbers.
They don't even have any fans unless they're in Mexico. Mexico City.
Man. All right, so
going off of
Yeah.
that. Let's just get away from that for a second. What you're mentioning though is one thing that I talk about constantly because I love it. The era that we are currently watching of football is massively different, and you also have to take that into account as well. When guys like Aikman and Jim Kelly and Marino and Elway were able to play, it was a far more aggressive game. Defenders were actually allowed to play defense on top of that. To where now you got a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick who has Hall of Fame numbers, but you got to watch that. You got to watch that era. That's another thing that should go into account when you're looking at the list of these names as well. I personally think that somebody that played in the 90s and early 2000s is a better player than somebody that's played from 2006 on because of the rule changes. Then it's really, if you're just throwing stats at me on that one, just because everything has changed and it favors offense, it favors what fans want to see, which is points. That's what everybody wants to see. You want to see a 45-42 game. We don't want to see a 10-6 shootout.
Well, let's do this because the debate can rage on forever. So
It will, yeah.
If we
Yeah, it
had
will.
to narrow this down to our 5 finalists this year, we'll say 5.
Sure.
Because again, we'll be here all day. Who would you guys? Who can you agree on 5?
I could say 5 right
Yeah,
off the top
I
of
could
my
say
head.
5.
I'm
All right.
looking at it. I'd say for Isaac Bruce, Alan Faneca, John Lynch, excuse me, Troy Polamalu, I believe is going to be that, and I do think that Zach Thomas is the other one. Those are my 5.
I'd probably say Zach Thomas, Polamalu, right? Tasker, Isaac Bruce, and then you're gonna have to go with Faneca. You're gonna have to go with one of the offensive linemen.
I agree, and I think he's better than Hutchinson.
I'm going Ryan Fitzpatrick. Very clearly he's one.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo, Alan Faneca, Troy Polamalu, and John Lynch, and Isaac Bruce. He should get in because when you look at the receivers on this list,
He's better than all of them.
By far.
Him. We
Wayne,
didn't say anything about Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne, maybe.
Nah,
Still-
going Isaac Bruce.
let-
Reggie Wayne's got time.
Yeah,
He's got time.
I'm about to say, let Reggie Wayne sweat this one out. He's got a few minutes. You know.
Tasker's been sweating it out too, man.
He's gonna be sweating for a long time.
Yeah, who's the longest on here? Who's been sweating it out the longest?
Tasker's got 7.
Tasker's close, but
John
it's not
Lynch
him.
has got 8.
It's not him. Yeah.
Steve Atwater's got 9.
Yeah,
There you
well,
go. So Steve Atwater. which really sucks because Steve Atwater was a hell of a player too, but Hall of Fame level, no. But he was definitely an All-Pro safety for every single year he was in.
Yeah,
the
but
NFL.
then you have Carl Banks on here who benefits from Lawrence Taylor. You have Simeon Rice who benefited from that Tampa Bay defense. So that's why I'm not sure if they're Hall of Fame.
I don't think they are either, and I don't even think Richard Seymour is.
I don't
to be
either.
honest
And
with you.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah.
that.
He's got to get
Listen,
it, man.
But what I'm saying though, when you look at that and you think 9 years on that list,
Yeah.
at what point do they go? Sorry, dude.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
just
what?
it's not working.
We're not gonna break your balls anymore. You're just not gonna make it.
Yeah, you're done.
We'll call you up in like 50 years when we induct you as your
Posthumously.
yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Anyways, let's we got to take our last break here, and then we're gonna come back and talk with Moss. But Jamie, do you have your IR this week?
I do, and this was a weird week to be
Yeah.
honest with you because nothing happened. Like literally nothing actually on the injury front happened that I haven't talked about.
Oh, perfect. Well, let's cue your music. We got
There
to
you
lead
go.
you in with some music if nothing happened. Here we go.
All right. So since really nothing actually happened this past week as far as entertaining ones, I figured I'd talk about one that I saw happen quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, especially with the colder weather hitting, which is hamstring strains. We've seen a lot of those over the last few weeks. Actually, myself and Ray Nation saw one happen during the game that we went to of Robert Foster for the Buffalo Bills, who came up really lame on on a 27-yard catch, I believe it was, up on the sideline. Now, first off, let's talk about what exactly is happening. Now, cold weather is one of the worst for hamstring strains because no matter how much you stretch out the hamstring muscles, which I'll explain those in a minute, they still tend to tighten up because the cold weather just has a faster act on making everything stiff. I mean, just walk outside and trust me, you'll feel every little bit of that in just a few minutes yourself. And then it goes from stiffening up those muscles to try to go at full speed very quickly, and it causes that muscle to lock up. And actually, a lot of times with hamstring strains, you do tend to tear or fray a lot of the muscle fibers of the muscle itself. In some extreme cases, you can actually rip the tendon right off the bone on top of that. Now, the muscles that are actually involved in the hamstring, they're the muscles that run roughly the entire length of the back of your thigh. There's a set of technically 3, but really 4. One is actually a 2-headed muscle called your biceps femoris, and then you have your semitendinosus and semimembranosus muscles. Called that because that's how they used to hang pigs, by those muscles that they were talking about. That's where they got the name hamstring. So, now, as far as what happens, the general rule of thumb is the higher up the strain or pull is, the quicker it is to heal. So if it's closer to your butt, you're probably only going to miss a handful of days, maybe a week, much like in the case of Robert Foster. He played Thursday in Dallas, 4 days after the injury first occurred. Or it could be much, much worse. If you actually see bruising after the pull or strain, what you're going to see is a much lengthier time. These could linger and linger and linger to a point where it's more or less how the player reacts. So it could be about 2 weeks, usually before they resume any activity, and then they gradually increase activity until they're back to being cleared for full workload. But this could go as far as 3 to 4 months before you're actually even at that level, depending about the severity of the injury. And in the case of a guy named Jeff Driscoll, he was just put on IR for this because I don't think they expect him back in Detroit. Plus, with the issue that they already have going on at quarterback with Stafford as well, they didn't want to sit on their thumbs for 4 weeks and hope that a third stringer is going to lead them to the promised land. So, for all those out there with those cold weather hamstring injuries, I wish you all the best for the remainder of the season. This is Jamie for this week's IR on behalf of My Garage Bar and Disruption Network.
Who the hell are you? You know. You all know exactly who I am.
Talking about house money right now. Well, we gonna come to you and we gonna bring it to you like this.
Say my name.
Huh?
I know it's been a while. I'm back on it. I'm just going to get right into this here. The Dallas Cowboys are in a very, very, very difficult situation, and if they lose this game, you can pretty much guarantee their season's over. But they are playing the Chicago Bears, who also have been abysmal. So I like Dallas on the road. Take them, Dallas, -3. The Seattle Seahawks coming off a very, very, very high-scoring game versus Minnesota Vikings. They've got another tough matchup this week, but it's Russell Wilson. He will be MVP. I don't care what you guys say about Lamar Jackson. I'm a little biased there. But take Seattle -1 this week on the road versus the Rams. And last but not least, I guess I'm on board now finally. It took 12 weeks. But the Niners, they're playing the Falcons at home. It's a little high spread. It's 11.5, but the Falcons are as bad as we think they are. Take San Fran -11.5. And there you have it, folks. That's this week's House Money.
The house money.
Yes.
Back.
The Niners are
Finally.
going to crush them. So,
I love how you say it
give
took
him
9 weeks, but you're finally on board.
well, I said 12.
He
but
said
yes.
both you are both because it was also 13.
13.
I was going to throw
There's a bye
both
week
of you
in
under
there.
the bus.
There's a bye week.
I'm actually
The bye week, I was convinced they were going to win.
Yeah,
We've only
that
been
was
saying it
probably
all
the-
year.
Well, why did you do that for house money when that happened? That would have been a guarantee.
True. Lock them up. You know what? Just
Yeah.
take a team on a bye week.
And take a team on a bye week.
Don't lose any money.
If anybody's stupid enough to bet you, you'll win.
Oh my
So
God.
for everybody out there watching, you can obviously see that Ray has now magically turned into Erica.
Hey, here I
Yeah.
am.
And you know what? Let me see something here. I think I can switch your name.
Yep, it still says Ray, I think.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Oh,
switch this.
that's great.
Let's see if I can do this.
That is Ray Party.
Hold on.
You got it?
I got the knowing and the doing of a lot of things. There it is. Boom. How did I? do
Nice
that?
highlights, Ray.
They are actually pretty nice. How'd you do that during a minute break?
Oh boy.
That was exciting.
Anyways,
Good
so
job.
we brought you back, Moss,
You did.
to talk about your trip down to Florida and
Back to the snow.
specifically your trip to the swamp.
Yeah.
Which trying to put it in the football terms here. You grew up in Gainesville,
I did.
and we're always talking about towns that are kind of made, cities and towns that are made because of their football teams. The Gators. You can't deny that when you go into Gainesville,
It's
that
Gators.
yeah, that is all that it is.
It is a college town. That is what Gainesville is a college town. You eat, breathe, shit, do everything Florida Gators, and there's nothing else to do. I mean, there is a lot. I shouldn't say there's nothing else to do, but it's beat in your head at a very young age. If you don't know how to do the Gator chant by the time you're 3 years old, there's a problem, and you're not teaching your child something right. It's but at the same time, it does have a very home feel.
Yeah.
It's a great small town, raise a family kind of place. There's lots of places like where my parents live where you're kind of away from the college and you don't get in the mix of all of that, but yet then there's a different college on the other side of town too, so that's confusing. But it's a different experience, and when I try to explain it to people up here, they don't really understand that concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
They think having a Florida Gator room in your house is not normal, where in Gainesville that's all you do. You have to, if you don't have a Gator room in your house, there's a problem.
Yeah. And I know you guys also have a Gator pool
Yes, my parents do have
my
a Gator
God.
pool.
with it's like the little mosaic
Oh my
gator
God.
head in the bottom of the
It's
pool.
great. It's great.
It's quite the thing. The first time I saw it, I was
Afraid?
afraid.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is a very, very committed family. That is absolutely true.
But that's not just us.
No,
That's
that's
everybody
everybody.
that lives in Gainesville. It's very normal. It's actually very normal for any Southern team, SEC, ACC, but it's down in the South. The South is a completely different world when it comes to college football.
Yeah.
Than it is up
it's
here.
Absolutely the life's blood of it.
I actually brought Rich years and years and years ago. We tailgated for a Florida State game. And he was like, what is going on around here? These people are nuts.
Well, and that is absolutely what I kind of wanted to get into today. I mean, my very first experience with that, and I had only been around to like some of the stadiums around here. We had
Sure.
been to Rich Stadium or like
New Era Field.
New
Yeah,
Era.
yeah. Or, yeah.
And of course, like we were up in Syracuse before. We tailgated there, and it's up here. It's very different down in the South because everybody is just so passionate about it, and it's the first time that I had seen like a fleet of Winnebagos that
it's
were
everywhere.
that were completely decked out, just Gators. They were Gator Winnebagos, and you're like, whoa, what is all that? I mean, like it's a village that pretty much comes together, and that's all it
It's
is.
an entire street and then all the side streets. Everything is just tailgate after tailgate after tailgate. A funny story is years ago when I was in college, but I lived in Gainesville. And even the years that I lived in Orlando too, we'd come back and tailgate for games. And my sister and I would actually drop a car off downtown the night before and then take a car back and then just get dropped off in the morning. Like we put a tent up and we put our car there so that when we could just get dropped off at 6 a.m. and start tailgating, and then we knew our car was already there and we didn't have to worry about it because you can't park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Well-
if you don't have $50 in your pocket, you're not finding a parking spot. That's for sure.
And that's the crazy thing. Like
And a mile walk.
obviously, Ricky came over to our house for
Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving games. Yep.
And it was so funny because even he said, he goes, yeah, we were going to go down there, but I kind of didn't know if I wanted to battle it this time
Yeah.
around. But yeah, it's amazing that when you start tailgating, he mentioned, oh, it's a night game. All right, cool. So we can start tailgating at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you guys are going to go drinking for 12 hours.
And I'm actually very surprised they did it as a 7:30 game because I remember years ago it used to be like a 7-8 o'clock game,
Yeah.
and there was way too many problems because people had been drinking since early in the morning,
Yeah.
and there was lots of fights and people doing this and that. So they said, you know what, we're no longer going to do it at 7. We're going to do it at 3:30. But I think because, unfortunately, sorry, FSU fans, they sucked this year, that they figured that most FSU fans just probably weren't watching the game. And I actually have family that are FSU fans that did not watch the game, which is crazy. But it's not like an SEC. It's a weird feeling for Florida State games because most of the time you have these SEC rivals, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, that hatred. It's almost like, you see Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Like it's that hatred towards each other that people are just battling, and you will see all kinds of fights. When it comes to a Florida State game, most of these people grew up in some part of Florida, and friends went to Florida, other friends went to Florida State. So it's like high school friends coming together and you're celebrating this big game together. So it's it's a friendly rival rather than it being an evil rival.
rather than beating the hell out of each other.
Yes.
Well, so as we were listening to the stories of you coming back, and we have a video that we're not going to play this week. We didn't get it in time, but we'll play it next week. And it's
I got a few people together.
some of the lunatics from down there going nuts and yelling into the camera and stuff. But we asked everybody, what is your favorite place to tailgate? And party before the game. So, Ray, I know you've been to a couple different stadiums. Do you have one in particular?
For tailgating,
Yeah.
believe it or not, I actually enjoyed the tailgate in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, they heckled me a little bit because I was wearing all Denver gear.
Yeah, he was.
I get that. But it was a good experience for the most part. Met a lot of Canadian Buffalo fans that
Wow.
just came over the border, and they wanted us to drink with them, and we got to throw one of them through the table. That was pretty cool.
Oh, they got the table thing going on.
Just
Did
table
their
all
whole
the boot.
Bills Mafia thing. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, Buffalo probably was one of my more fun experiences for short tailgating.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a college game though? Besides Syracuse,
Syracuse, UConn.
football.
I went to UConn for basketball.
Oh, okay.
That's nuts right there.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane for basketball. Football, Syracuse, I've tailgated there. It's not really intense. It's kind of
Couple tents, couple tables.
Yeah.
Could have some hot dogs.
Trying to
They
think.
got some hot girls out.
We went to a Jets Broncos game years ago, way back when Favre was quarterback. That tailgate was insane. Trying to think where else. No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, where'd you at?
The worst part, and this is going to sound like a homer thing, it's Buffalo. That's been my favorite experience throughout. As Ray was already kind of going with, those guys are just as insane. The Winnebagos are there Friday, and they open the lot. They have a lot dedicated to weekend people, and they stay there all weekend. Even nicer, actually, if you are one of the Winnebago people, the coach and Josh Allen and the receivers, like players wander around Saturday and Sunday before the game in that lot and shake hands and eat burgers. That's what they do. It's awesome, but it is a nutty experience. It's loud, it's live, and so that's been one of my more favorite ones because it's just crazy every single time. Doesn't matter the weather.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing. You know,
I think the great thing about Buffalo, and we've said it a million times, those fans are so dedicated
to their teams
towards anything. I mean, and they've had years and years and years of losing and everything. Their commitment doesn't waver.
But and that's the beauty. They sell out every single game, regardless of record, pretty much. And the tailgate, I wouldn't even, every lot is a tailgate lot there, and some people's front yards are tailgate lots. They're always filled, and it doesn't matter what's happening. It really, really, really doesn't. So that's been one of my more favored ones, and still is. And before you ask, I have been to college games. I've actually tailgated at Michigan.
How was that?
Pretty damn crazy, actually. Though they're very, very, very rabid. I think if I went for the Michigan Ohio State game, it would have been nutty. It would have been, but I didn't, unfortunately. But or even Michigan State, they hate each other.
Yeah.
So that would have been a good one. It was Michigan and Northwestern. So it's like, all right, well, nobody cares about Northwestern. They're terrible at football.
Yeah.
So we just kind of had a few burgers and called it a day. If there's somewhere I would want to go, though, I was thinking about this, and this is totally ridiculous and stupid. It's based on food because I am a fat guy in a littler body, and I would go to like Houston. Hell yeah, get some barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even San Diego when it existed. I know they're in Los Angeles, but they're still San Diego to me in my heart because a friend of ours actually lived out there, and they said they do like fish tacos and all these great things out there for their tailgate. I'm like, I do that because that sounds like my people.
Can I tell you what the greatest thing I ever saw was this weekend was the person next to me at their table. I was like, can I take a picture of this? Because this is fantastic. I mean, you can have burgers. You can have, they said they have steaks. They have all kinds of food. But the thing that the people want the most, Chick-fil-A sandwiches. They had about 20 Chick-fil-A sandwiches on the table. And I was like, this is the greatest tailgate table I've ever seen in my entire life. Forget the dip. Forget the chicken. Forget that. I want Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
I'd be mad.
No.
If I got fast food that I can get any
that's
day of the week, I would
Chick-fil-A.
be.
Chick-fil-A.
No, there's no such thing. If I get fast food any day of the week, I would be mad if I had to eat it at a
It's not
Right.
fast food. It's fan food.
It's fan food.
I don't give a damn what they call it. It's a sham food in my book, all right?
Sham food.
Screw
We're
that.
going to get you guys. We're going to take a 3-and-out trip, and we're going to go down tailgate it.
No problem, but I'm
Game.
getting pulled pork. If I'm going to be in Florida, I'm getting something good, damn it. And jambalaya and all these other great things, and I'm staying away from the Chick-fil-A table.
Oh, I could go with some jambalaya. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what, though? I got to say, Buffalo was pretty good, too. We went to Miami before. I've been in Miami a few times, and I didn't really.
Dolphins, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That was like, whatever. We're here.
It's kind of an uneventful tailgate. I hate to say it that way because
Yeah.
Ray's
Well, the South
still here over
South cares more about their college than they do their
Yeah.
NFL.
New England, like I said, that was kind of like, maybe it was just too cold. I don't know. But Buffalo, I mean, it was snowing like a bastard that day.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And people were still out there, shirts off, going nuts. It was.
Well, the best part is they probably used the shirts to hover over so you could light the grill.
I don't know, man. That place.
I've
was
seen
just nuts.
crazy things.
It was just nuts. Anyways, what are you guys watching this week?
I got to homer it.
Homer it?
Yeah, I have to. I mean, this is a huge game. Buffalo and Baltimore this week. It's in Buffalo. We're talking about their tailgate. If you want to talk about insanity, go this Sunday and just try to wander up and down the street. Don't even go to the game for all I care. It's going to be nuts in there because they have a legit shot with a win to actually clinch the damn playoffs this week. So it's going to be nuts there this week, regardless, and we'll see. We'll see if the Buffalo is an answer for the Lamar Jackson show. Especially now that their former offensive coordinator and Greg Roman is Baltimore's offensive coordinator. There might be some tricks there.
Some
Interesting.
trickery, some tomfoolery.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Moss, you know what? Before you go,
yeah.
you know what I'm surprised we didn't mention?
What?
Tailgating at the damn Super Bowl.
What the hell's the
no,
matter with
that
you two?
was something to talk about.
How did-
Holy cow.
Twice.
How did I was just going to leave? All right, but this is
How did crazy? She got her purse stolen.
That's because I got my identity stolen that day.
Oh, there
and I
you go.
looked at it and I said, oh, well, we're just going to keep drinking. I just can't pay.
Yeah.
That's all.
What are you watching this week?
I'm actually a little upset that I missed out on the New England conversation. So I'm going to say New England and Kansas City because I would like to see them with another L.
Put it right out there, Moss. That's what we love. What do you got, Ray?
Let me look real quick. I guess I don't want to. I'm not watching that game. Definitely not watching that game.
Not watching anything.
Ray's out of the NFL. He already told
All right.
you.
That one's good. This one right here.
Nope, I don't want to watch. All right, I'm gonna be honest. There's like 2 games I'll watch. I'll watch the Buffalo game,
there you go.
and
Do you want to watch Chicago versus Dallas?
Oh,
Chicago and Dallas don't want to watch Chicago versus Dallas. I guess I'll watch that Niners New Orleans.
That should be a great game.
Yeah, that's a good game too.
Yeah.
Seattle and the Rams should be good too.
Oh, and I made a mistake. They are not 11.5. Excuse me, that was wrong.
Was wrong?
It's only -3, but still take. It's actually New Orleans -3.
Damn.
Oh boy.
Wow.
So
Well,
take Niners +3.
Oof.
Got to take them.
And from off camera hit, Ray, do you got one you're watching? Same thing, huh?
Yep.
And I'm kind of hoping the Niners lose, so I can get back off this bandwagon immediately. Like,
They should have
told
won
you
this
guhave
week, too.
I told you. Like,
They should have beat Baltimore too.
Tired of this damn thing.
dude,
All right. Well, listen, we got more programs coming up here in just a minute, so we gotta.
There's a big party going on.
We're gonna have
Skedaddle.
a huge party going
Yep.
on here in just a few minutes. So let's get off here. But guys, thank you so much. It was very fun tonight. I think having all 4 of you in the studio. Yeah.
Yes.
Good time.
Oh,
right.
before we sign off officially, can I say this one stat that I heard that put Adam Gase into infamy?
Oh,
Okay.
surely.
This is the beauty. Now he's the coach of the year for this. Adam Gase is now officially the only NFL head coach in history to lose twice to undefeated teams when their record was 0-7 or worse.
Wow.
Like you said,
Hats off, Adam
Hats
Gase.
off.
Ray Party is over here giving the fist bump because his team got away from that dumpster fire that is Adam Gase.
there you go. So, anyways, that's going to do it for us, guys. So, for Jamie, for Erica, and for both the Rays, I'm Rich Masucci. Thanks for watching us tonight, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Enjoy the games. See ya.
Later.
Out.